What's up, guys? Welcome back. We got a lot of things going on today. Russia, Ukraine took part in a prisoner swap, and then Russia launched drone strikes on Ukraine.
The forever war.
Yep. Also, you know how you heard about Canadians not traveling to the US? Well, it seems like people aren't really coming to Canada either.
It looks like boycotts go both ways.
According to statistics Canada, they do. Then we got some drama at universities. Earlier, the Trump administration froze $2.2 billion in funding for Harvard. Then they planned to ban international students, but a judge issued a restraining order that temporarily blocked them from doing so.
Okay.
Now, some Canadian students are concerned, one of which is Prime Minister Mark Carney's daughter.
I didn't know she went to Harvard.
I don't think anyone did until...
He did too.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah. Next, hustling is no longer cool. Instead, they define success based on soft life culture.
Laziness.
Can't make this shit up. Next, you might have heard of Israel's Iron Dome. Well, Canada and the US are talking about Golden Dome.
And gold's better than iron.
It's an advanced missile defense system that's going to cost hundreds of billions of dollars to make, and Trump says it'll be operational by the end of his term.
We'll see about that.
Then the tariffs are back. Well, kinda. Trump's threatening 50% tariffs on Europe, and he wants iPhones to be made in the US again.
Just like everything else.
Next, I don't know if you've heard of a new electric pickup truck that's kind of getting talked about a lot because it only costs $25,000 to make. And Vancouver-based X-Road Technologies is involved somehow, so this thing might actually come to Canada.
Okay.
The big caveat, no screens. And last, Toronto's got some bubble zones, which allows schools, places of worship, and childcare centers to request to stop protesters from protesting on city property within 50 meters of the zone. Sound a little complicated?
Yeah.
And what do we got for sports?
Yeah, sports talk. We got SGA. He won the MVP.
Yeah, Canada, let's go.
And Haliburton was doing his best impersonation of Reggie Miller.
At the Garden.
In the Garden, yeah. We got Gretzky. He was in the wrong place at the right time once again. A couple times in a row now.
Yeah.
And last but not least, we'll talk about our Leafs.
Yeah.
Where their head is.
After all that, what do we have for off topic?
So we'll talk about Chris Brown, Kris Jenner, and a couple other things.
And stay tuned for the question segment at the end.
We'll give you guys our thoughts and opinions on all of it. So, Russia and Ukraine keeps getting a little bit more confusing.
Yeah.
First, they did a prisoner swap. They exchanged 270 soldiers and 120 civilians each.
Okay.
There's been a bunch of smaller exchanges, but nothing's been this big so far.
Yeah.
And then Donald Trump weighs in and says a major prisoner swap was just completed between Russia and Ukraine. It will go into effect shortly. Congratulations to both on this negotiation. This could lead to something big.
Could be something big.
Then Russia launches a drone attack on Kiev just hours after the prisoner swap.
See, that's all that's been happening with this thing.
Right.
What did they exchange in total? I think it was 307 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're aiming to do, I think it was 1,000.
1,000.
That's their agreement they made, right? But it's just like it's a prisoner swap, right? It feels like it's still like hours later they decided to do that, and even leading up to it, whenever there's any type of resolution coming, it just feels like there's a bunch of attacks that start happening, right? It's usually Russia on.
It seems like we've talked about it before, right? Like no one wants to, they call this war the forever war, right?
Yeah.
Like that's why everyone kind of refers to it. And nobody really wants it to continue, right? Except for Putin, right? It seems like, because I think they are supposed to come up with some sort of weird mandate or something that they bring to the table, and that's how the negotiations start. That's what their side is kind of claiming. They also keep saying that the question like Zelensky's legitimacy as a president, right? And they'll be like, he's not really elected there, right? He shouldn't be president.
He used to be a comedian, right?
Yeah, but...
Bring that up too.
And then I feel like what they do, Zelensky says that Putin is stalling, right?
Yeah.
And I know Zelensky gets a lot of criticism, but I don't know how you can't agree with the guy now, right?
Yeah.
Like it feels like everything Putin does is stalling.
Yeah, but even him, with this prisoner exchanges happening, right? You know they have a goal in mind. And then this guy starts, I don't know if he tweeted out or he was publicly saying, but he's saying, we're going to get every single Ukrainian back. It's like you're finally getting to a place where maybe you might come to an agreement with this guy who doesn't like to agree with anybody on anything. And then you start saying stuff like that just to irk him. Probably not the smartest move.
Yeah, but what are you going to do with a guy like Putin, right? Like, I feel like the U.S. has to step in somehow, and Trump keeps
He's
like
trying.
Yeah, he's like kind of doing and kind of not, right? Like, I think Europe said that they're ready to impose some sanctions. They didn't say exactly what or how much they're doing or whatever.
Yeah.
The U.S. is kind of, I think everyone's kind of on the fence.
For sure.
Right? And this might be that one thing that pushes them over the edge. But then, does it matter? Does Putin care? I don't know.
I don't know if he does. And then there's all those reports about his health and stuff, right? Like, I don't know if that factors into it. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it makes him care less.
Yeah.
He's got nothing to lose type of deal, but it doesn't seem like any of this is ending. Anytime there's any diplomatic interchange, even these sanctions that he threatened or trade sanctions, anything, prisoner exchanges, whenever it happens, like I said, leading up to it, there'll be attacks or right before, right after. It doesn't seem like
any ceasefire deal. Yeah.
I don't see it coming. I don't know.
Right.
Not the way they're acting.
I agree. I don't think any ceasefire deal is coming anytime soon.
Trump's going to get tired of it too if it keeps going on like this.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, something's got to happen there, right?
Something's got to give.
But yeah, let's move on to Canadian travel. Right. We've all heard the stories of Canada boycotting travel to the U.S. But fewer people are visiting Canada from overseas as well.
Okay.
In fact, in March, it dropped to 17.4% when compared to the same time last year. Overall travel for Canadians, whether it was overseas or to the U.S., decreased by 15% in March, right? And then there's some experts saying that because travel to the U.S. is going down, Canada could take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Right. So basically what's going on is people are coming to Canada less and Canadians are flying out less.
Yeah, even the boycott on the States, I guess you could call it, they're down 31% year over year on that side, going to the States. It just, I feel like, I don't know if it's this whole boycott thing is happening or it's just the state of the economy. I don't know which one it is.
I think
could be a little bit of both. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm thinking economy more.
That's what I think too.
Yeah. Because even like, do you see all the commercials from California and stuff? Like, come, our hotels are cheaper.
Yeah.
Or Vegas is saying it's down by like 25%.
Yeah.
They're like incentivizing people to come. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like what you'll usually get in the media here, whether it's articles or in the news, is just a lot of them saying that they're boycotting, right? But in reality, like you're saying, Vegas is going through the same thing. Yeah. California's going through the same thing. I don't know how Miami's doing. Nobody's really talking about Florida. I think they're doing all right.
Yeah.
I don't know about New York either, but it seems like cities across like North America, they're in a similar situation, right? And then I feel like it's also like, if you're going to talk about money, like you can say that some of these experts are saying Canada has a competitive advantage here. Like, sure, Toronto, Vancouver, Quebec, parts of Alberta, like they're nice, right? But are they New York, LA, Miami?
For sure.
Vegas? They're not.
I don't know how many Americans really travel to the Ontario or Canada.
Some of Canada is really nice, right? But it's not Vegas.
For sure.
Right?
It's not a hot spot.
It's not Miami, right? Like, it's not South Beach, right? Like, if we're being honest. And I think a lot of what it is that, and I don't know, man. Like, if you're going to look at this boycotting thing and you're going to make your travel plans based on this boycotting thing, it's a little ridiculous, right?
Especially if people made plans beforehand, right? They're not going to cancel their trip because this stuff happened. Sometimes people book. What if you're getting married somewhere in the States? Like, you have that booked a year in advance, right? You're not going to cancel all your plans because it's
probably like new plans. People aren't
making new plans, right? Yeah, people probably aren't making travel.
I don't know that I'm necessarily like against going to the States. I don't think I thought about that. I was just thinking.
Me personally, like on my socials, no, me myself, I don't know. I don't have any travel plans right now, but I don't think I am. But
yeah, I never really thought of like, oh, I can't go to the States. I'm just not right now.
What I'm seeing, like anybody that I see, like friends and family that are traveling, some of them are going to the States.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's a cheaper option, right? Like whatever's cheaper, that's what you're gonna do, right? And right now, I think the Caribbean is cheaper for Canadians, right? Like, I think it's more expensive to go to the States or parts of the States,
especially because the money that doesn't help either. Right.
But
But I don't think it's a boycott thing. I think it's a money thing.
I agree.
That's what I think.
Because I think that tourism is down all over the
everywhere.
world.
That's why even coming here, tourism is down.
Yeah, anywhere you go.
Talking about this money thing, did you guys see these new airplane seats that they're introducing? I think we have a clip.
Okay. Those are the seats?
Oh, those are the seats right there.
Yeah, so they're smaller, so that the airplane can fit more on it.
Okay.
And they're obviously cheaper.
Yeah.
So people are more incentivized to fly on them, but they're only for like short flights.
They're just for
1
standing.
to 2 hour. Probably they're gonna European airlines are gonna start adopting it next year. These are just prototypes.
I hate airplane seats.
They look so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right.
It kind of looks like a like Top Gun or something.
like a roller coaster. Those rides.
2 hours. Yeah, like a roller coaster.
Yeah, no, I mean, already there's no leg room, right? Especially for somebody over 6 feet. Like anytime we travel, we always get that front row if we can.
Yeah.
And just pay a little extra so you have the extra leg room, right? Especially with kids, like it's just easier to go back and forth.
Yeah, like the last one we went on, there's so much leg room. I'm like, I need to travel like this.
So imagine that. Like,
no, I can't.
I've even seen this other concept where there's like a seat under, like, and a seat on top. They kind of like overlap.
Oh,
right?
I saw that.
Yeah, and then like what I was thinking when I saw
the person that leans back, right?
Well, yeah, like you can lean back. They're designed in a way where one seat's slightly higher, right, and one seat's under, and both people can lean back like properly. Hell? But I was like, what if you're on the bottom and the person at the top farts?
Yeah. Did it just smell bad in general?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
No, traveling is so annoying.
I don't even like traveling and sitting. Traveling and standing. Like, I don't know anywhere where I wouldn't want to do that on a 20-minute flight. I would imagine
it's like more commuters type planes. Like they're going for business meetings or like, because I can't imagine any child will like that.
I wouldn't want to do that on a 20-minute flight.
Yeah.
What if it's like significantly cheaper, which I think it will be?
It better be.
Yeah.
Like
then
would
if it's half the price?
Would you do it? If it's half?
It's got to be more than
half.
More than
half.
Okay.
And it depends on how long the flight is.
Yeah, it depends on where I'm flying.
2 hours.
Yeah,
nothing over 2 hours.
2 hours. Domestic flights.
Domestic flight doesn't cost that much in the first place.
Yeah. Like,
but what if it's like $20?
$20, I'll do it.
Yeah, if it's like a bus ticket.
It's got to be $20. You just hit that's my price point. It's got to be $20.
Not even 21.
Yeah, no, not a cent more.
It's got to be $20, man.
But yeah, clearly the airlines are thinking the same thing. They think it's a money thing as well, right? Yeah. And even
they can add more seats this way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then more people, more money, right?
No problem.
Did you guys see the Canadian passport offices? They're cutting 800 jobs approximately by the end of June. Yeah. It's wild, no?
That's so many. Yeah.
And it's all based off an application forecast.
Really?
Right. And these, like, that's what I'm saying. On when you look online or when you watch TV, the news, any of it, they'll keep saying it's this boycotting thing.
It's not.
But when you're looking at this has nothing to do with boycotting. People just are traveling.
Down. Nobody's traveling. Nobody has money.
Then it's down globally.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, what's the first thing you cut back on? Like miscellaneous. I guess traveling isn't necessary. So it's probably one of the first things to go for most people.
I feel like it's one of these things where when you politicize certain things, it's kind of dumb. And like sometimes people fall for it, but I think you shouldn't. Like, for example, like the last trip we went to Disney World, right? We took our daughter to Disney World, Sophia and me, right? Disney is like, they'll get a lot of pushback for being a little bit on the woke side of things, right? And we tend to, at this point in our life, lean center right. Right. But my daughter loves Disney. Right. You think I'm going to be like, no, sweetheart.
We love Disney.
We all do.
I mean, who doesn't like Disney?
Right. Like you think we're going to be like, okay, no, we're not going to go there. Disney's for liberals.
Yeah.
No, right. Like
great time to go. You went before this thing popped off, right?
Yeah.
Costco's selling lightning passes. Just saying. Disney's selling 3-pack Disney tickets.
And you're telling me that's a boycott thing? That's a money thing.
Yeah. To me, it's a complete money thing, man. It's so dumb to turn this whole thing political. Right.
Everything's political.
Well, yeah, let's move on to more political things. So Harvard, right?
Yeah.
Earlier, the Trump administration froze $2.2 billion in federal funding for Harvard And then they threatened to remove their tax-exempt status, right? For which Harvard has already filed a lawsuit.
Yeah.
And then recently a judge issued a restraining order, temporarily blocking Trump administration's plan to ban the international students.
Yeah.
Right. So what it looks like to me is Trump's side is saying essentially that Harvard is not doing enough to fight anti-Semitism.
Yeah, yeah.
What I was reading.
That was one of the things that they accused them of doing.
And those are allegations that Harvard's just denying.
Yeah.
Right. And then I think we have a chart, if you could pull it up.
Yeah.
About international foreign students that have been rising slowly. I think it's up to like 27%, right?
Yeah.
There are approximately 6,800 international students that are enrolled in Harvard this year, which is about 27% of total students.
Okay.
Now, most of them are from China, like a fifth of them.
Okay.
Right. And then after that, it's Canada, India, South Korea, and the UK.
Yeah.
Right. So it affects a lot of Canadians as well.
Yeah.
Right. And I did read, like, if you're what's her name? Ursula von der Leyen,
yeah.
the European Commission president. She was basically implying that if you guys don't want the international students, we'll take them.
Okay.
I think we have a video of that.
Science is an investment, and we need to offer the right incentives. This is why I can announce that we will put forward a new 500 million euro package for 2025 to 2027 to make Europe a magnet for researchers. This will help support the best and the brightest researchers and scientists from Europe and around the world. We aim to create a new 7-year super grant under the European Research Council, ERC, to help offer a longer-term perspective to the very best. Through the ERC, we are already supporting researchers who relocate to Europe with a top-up beyond their grant. We are now doubling the amount they can receive this year, and I want to...
Yeah, I think that's enough.
Lady, right?
Boring, right? I was like, what the hell?
But you, good on her, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
She jumped, I think it was like 2 days ago where they banned this, they put in this ban, then they lifted it, they revoked it, right? Because Harvard sued them.
Yeah.
So they temporarily stopped the ban.
Yeah,
But they jumped on that right away.
Yeah. I think Harvard sued them for the $2.2 billion.
Yeah.
Which is still in court. It's probably going to end up in the Supreme Court. I don't know if there's a lawsuit here or if a judge just stopped it.
Yeah.
Right, from happening.
It was on the international ban.
Yeah.
That He stopped that temporarily. Yeah. I think from my understanding, what I read up on it, in April-ish, Trump started, or his administration started putting a bunch of demands on a lot of universities and stuff in terms of curriculum, hiring.
Right.
Harvard was the one place that said, no, we're not going to do that. Right. And then they just go harder on them. And he tries to tell them to stop this foreign exchange and stuff. And at some point, then they countersued or sued him.
There's two sides to it, right? Like, I think what they were doing is, what's wild to me is this whole, I think they even let someone go, some sort of leader in their, that is somewhere here. They let someone go. Harvard did. Okay. Right? That was...
Claudine Gay.
I don't remember the name. That could be...
Yeah. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, basically they said that she was not clearly saying that calling for violence against Jews.
Okay.
Like, she didn't say it. And she got a lot of backlash for that. Yeah. So she resigned after 6 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is like the shortest time a president has held the title at Harvard.
On Harvard. Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know, like, that people have like mixed feelings about her leaving or whatever. Sure, right? Yeah. But like, where I think I draw the line here is on freedom of speech.
For sure.
Right? Like, if Harvard is gonna dismiss somebody for not failing to represent an Israeli perspective, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of you're teetering the line there.
You are, for sure, trying to tell somebody what they should be doing and saying.
Right? Like, I think it's like most of people are giving Trump pushback here, right? And
yeah.
should, right? Because it seems like you can't use freedom of speech whenever it applies to you, and then when it doesn't, you don't like it, right?
Exactly.
You go completely the other direction, right?
Yeah.
But I do think what's happening here is, to what you were saying, like before, while he was running, I saw him talking a little bit about, like, on the right, they'll say that right-wing views aren't represented well in universities and colleges.
Yeah.
Right. And they'll say there's a couple of arguments
which we all kind of know, right?
Yeah, university campuses are flooded with that stuff, right? And it's not stuff that I agree with, right?
Even
but they're very progressive left wing, right? Like, and it's gotten worse and worse over time. And now, because of social media, a lot of people are center right, and it's gone extreme left, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, you can't be like, they're not allowed to talk about certain things, right? You got to give pushback, right? Like, kind of like how we feel here with the media here, right? It's the same sort of thing, right? Like, you leave it to the open market, right? You have people who give pushback, who then it leads to discourse, and then things change, right?
For sure.
And a lot of the times, who knows, are right-wing professors even, like, are they incentivized? Like, do they even want to do that? Right? Or do a lot of people who are successful on the right end up being entrepreneurs? Right?
Yeah.
That's just kind of the way they think, right? I don't know if education is something that's so highly sought after, right?
Yeah.
If there was some studies coming out saying that they're being discriminated against on purpose, right? Like actually skilled professors aren't being hired in elite schools, then I'd be like, that's a problem.
But even that's hard to prove, right?
It is hard.
We touched on subjects like that in the past. But people that are supporting them, like even Republicans that are supporting Trump, they're saying they shouldn't foster environments that align with they should foster environments that align with national values and securities. So basically the anti-Semitism, and now their new accusations they're making are that they're aligned with the Communist Party in China. And they even said that they helped training its paramilitary and scientists on dual use research.
So
that's a security issue, they're saying.
Yeah, but China has its hands in everything, right? And people on the left always like to believe like that's not, like that doesn't exist, right? Like when
not just China, other countries, even America, they're in other countries.
Even international students, like we were just talking about them, like the most international students are from China, right? And then the argument is also that there's limited spots, right? Because Harvard is a sought after university, right? So I guess you could argue that, you know, if an international student is taking a spot, is taking away from a potential American student.
Exactly.
Right?
That's the other thing, right?
So then you could argue then that because Harvard receives tax exemptions, right, that they should be developing talent domestically, right, instead of giving aid to foreign students, right? And that's going to be the argument that you're going to get for the most part, right? And then, but like the more talked about argument is obviously going to be the woke culture at these universities, right? But I mean, at the end of the day, to me, if you're going to, a little bit like we talked about meritocracy before, right? If you do believe in meritocracy and you think that whoever's the best at a job should get the job,
cream of the crop.
Theoretically, if there's better students elsewhere and they're applying, the best students should get the program, get into the program.
Specifically when it comes to this, like getting degrees or making, like, don't you want the best people? Doesn't really matter where they come from. Right? Like importing the labor class is a different situation. This is like if you're missing out on some of the best scientists in the world just because they live in China or India, wherever. You're not going to have them come to your school?
But does that mean if they come to the school, they'll stay in America?
No, so that's the other thing. People are saying that they come here, they learn, not here, but in the States, they learn things from these elite schools, and then they go back and they use that knowledge to
they also pay an international fee. So it's almost I would say a little warranted. But I get what you're saying. Like somebody here is like competing against the world.
And okay, if you're going to pay, like the argument about tuition being more expensive for international students, to me, it's kind of dumb because they don't pay taxes, right? In the country they live in, they should be paying higher tuition, right?
I agree.
You'll even read, well, I've read articles on Harvard claiming that they're going to lose a lot of money because international students are a large portion of their revenue, right?
Yeah.
To which that's where I'll be like, does the general public care about how much money Harvard loses, right? Like nobody gives a shit, right? Like
donations, Harvard.
Right? Like they $2.2 billion in funding.
Giving out degrees.
Right?
Like
they have
celebrities,
massive,
no problem.
These honorary doctorates that they give out to everyone. Yeah, so to me, I feel like it does get a little bit in this gray area because of ties to China, because of the way that, how many limited spots there are and the way that things are, developing. And the argument is going to constantly be made that where the university exists, right? Even if there was a university of that caliber in Canada, right? As a Canadian, if your kids might have qualified for it, but because it's such a tight race that other people keep qualifying. Now, let's say that number starts to grow even more. It's 27% now, right? What if it goes to 30, 40, 50?
At some point,
right? At some point, like, how you talk about importing the labor class, you start talking about importing every class. Right? But then you get into this conversation about
Canadians also go to other countries and go to schools there.
Right.
So it is a little murky.
It's a little murky, but Canadians or Americans aren't going to go to a school in China. They're not. They're also not going to go to a school for the most part. India has some great universities, but they don't go there.
No,
right?
It's like Europe.
What was the other top ones? It was India, China, South Korea, and the UK and Canada, right? So like, if somebody's going to go from the West, they might go to, if you're in Canada, you might go to the States or UK. That's usually just how it goes.
Yeah. How many cases do we know people, very intelligent people that get degrees in India? Yeah. They're not accepted here. They got to do their program again or some variation of it.
Yeah.
What about all the Caribbean med school students?
Yeah. Well, there's that. There's that.
I don't know. That's going to be a tough one.
We all know a handful of those.
Yeah. Yeah.
One or two.
Yeah. I feel like this thing is a little gray, but even here, I do feel like even the right is giving a lot of pushback.
Yeah.
Being like, hey, it's not he is, like people are.
Or they
if you're for free speech and freedom of speech, free speech, you don't pay for it. Okay. Yeah. Let's just move on,
Okay.
Yeah. What do we got next? I think we got hustling is no longer cool.
Okay. What's cool?
According to KeyBank 2024 financial mobility survey, 72% of U.S. adults said they prefer to define success based on soft life culture, which is focused on happiness and fulfillment rather than hustle culture, which prioritizes wealth and status. Recent research from Society for Human Resource Management found that 45% of U.S. employees said their work made them feel emotionally drained, while 51% said that they felt used up by the end of the workday. 63% of Americans said that they prioritize work-life balance, while only 27% of respondents said that they value a high-paying salary more, according to KeyBank. At the same time, Ford's 2024 trend survey found that 52% of workers said that they would be better willing to take a 20% pay cut to achieve a better quality of life.
Okay. So it's like, how do you foster an environment like where your employees feel fulfilled at work and also get them to work hard, right? Ownership in the company, like how do you even do that? I guess stock incentives.
I think if there's like a path to success,
yeah,
right, and it feels like somebody's got a purpose, right, and there's like a clear one, then sure, if you're trying to climb the corporate ladder,
yeah.
But I feel like a lot of people, they start working these dead-end jobs, right? And then they just stay working them, and they do the same thing day after day, month after month, year after year, right? And it gets very redundant, and they're just like, I could care less about this thing. I'm not trying to be the best at my job anymore. It's not going to get me a raise. It's not going to do anything. So then they could care less, right? And that's where their work-life balance, I think, kicks in.
Yeah.
But to me, I think the whole work-life balance thing is some people like to use it in a sense where they think that they need breaks.
Yeah.
A lot of those people haven't even worked long enough to
to know how it feels to work long.
to get these breaks, right?
I feel like you can blame this on like the Gen Zs.
Yeah, I wasn't going there.
But they just started working for like 3 years. Like, oh my God, this is hard.
Yeah. They still live with their parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even some of the stats that were coming out of this article I was reading, it's just like the number one symptom they're reporting is fatigue. Canadians, these are 40% of them fatigue, low motivation, reduced energy. Like that's what's gonna happen when you
just need blood work. Vitamins low. No, obviously working is tiring. Having like numerous jobs is tiring. But what are you gonna do? Just be lazy?
I mean, if you want to achieve anything in life, it's going to require some sort of sacrifice, right? You're not going to get it with any
something even great. Like, do you want to be mediocre or do you want to be
exactly? A lot of people like that's this new generation of workers, right? They're comfortable with that. They're okay with just working a 9 to 5 and just I want to be on my vacation. Those things are rank higher in importance, right, than improving in life.
But okay, I think they're ranked that way because maybe they're comfortable, maybe their debts and mortgages are paid enough where they're not exactly paycheck to paycheck, or their parents have funded a certain lifestyle for them, so they don't really feel that pressure, so they don't know what it's like to not have anything, right? If you've gone from zero to somewhere, you will never forget zero.
Exactly.
You know that you're 3 paychecks away, a bad recession, anything from things collapsing, and you're back to zero, and zero sucked.
Yeah.
When you were there, it sucked.
Yeah.
When you're trying, when you don't know where your next paycheck's going to come from.
Yeah.
When you don't know who's going to put food on the table, you don't know if your job's going to continue, and everything is stressing you out. It puts stress on your marriage. When you know that that's on the other side of being lazy, you can't afford to be lazy. You're like, I'm not doing this work-life balance crap, right?
Yeah.
And then the balance side of it is also subjective as well, right?
Exactly.
Some people feel fulfilled, right? They feel like they have a purpose, right? When they're working towards something, right?
Yeah.
Now that depends on you as a person, right? That has more to do with you as a person. Than, like I always like, to me, I think people should have self-awareness, right? I am my own hardest critic, right? Like when it comes to me, I'm not going to give myself any excuses, right? Whenever I mess up, I'm big, I messed up. Whenever I'm lazy, I'm like, I'm being lazy. I'm not going to be like, I deserve a beer, right? Like, I want a beer. Sure. I don't deserve anything. My life wasn't that hard. Right? Like, sure, I've slept less or whatever, right? And I enjoy a beer, but that doesn't mean I deserve it, right? Like, it's that kind of attitude to me. Right?
For me, it's like, I feel like hustle culture at its extreme is also bullshit. Like, I don't know if you've seen these guys. You seen that one guy? He was viral. I don't know any of their names, like Cardone or something. One of these guys, so there's 2 of them. One of them just goes, every day, I get 6 days out of every day.
That guy.
Bro, I'm like, what the fuck?
That's the guy that makes fun of him.
He's like, if I wake up at 3,
like
3 to 6, that's 1 day.
3 days. Every 24 hours.
So there's guys like him, and then there's other ones. I can't think of examples, right? I think it was Cardone. Could be wrong on the person, but he's just like, why would I make 2 million a day?
Yeah, when I can make 30 million.
I can make 30. And then somebody was like, doing a
there's a lot of the and why would you have 1 rental property when you can have 10 rental properties and buy 100 rental properties, right? Or why would I own just 1 company? I can
own companies, right? How do I do it? Tell me that, right? You're not going to tell that.
They're doing nothing. They're doing zero.
I think a lot of that has to do with
they ruined hustle culture is what I'm saying. I think people like that.
Yeah,
I think what ruins hustle culture a little bit is when people who are more wealthy, especially billionaires, not just these influencers, that then they start to say things like Kevin O'Leary would say it all the time, the people who are working that dead-end 9-to-5 job aren't about that hustle culture. They shouldn't be working for me. They should be working somewhere else, right? And he'll say things like that because if you are a owner of that company, it's to your benefit if you have hustlers on your team, right? Like you want the person who's about this soft life culture.
Especially in this economy, right? Like it's going to get pretty cutthroat. People are going to keep on people that work hard and can do the job if you can't. And there's also like, I don't know. For me, hustling I'm going to hustle really hard when it comes to my own work, my own business, anything I'm doing for myself. It's worth all my time, sleep, everything, right? I think it's safe to say if you're working a job and you've been there for 10 years, you know where you can get by with doing less or whatever. Because I don't feel like if you're doing a normal 9-to-5 corporate job and you're busting your ass 24/7 over trying, and you, let's say you do it for 1 year and you're like, oh, that didn't matter. Yeah. Why would you continue doing that? That's stupid too, just hustling for no reason.
Yeah, if it's not to your benefit, right, and there's no real path to success, then it's kind of a waste of time, right? Also, I feel like, when it comes to like your own businesses or investments or things that you have planned, I think people, especially for married couples, I think it's important to be on the same page.
For sure,
right? Like if one person, like if you have this mindset and a vision, right, and you have this clear vision in your mind, if you say that, okay, we're going to grind now, right? The next 5, 10, 15 years, like we're going on a run, right? Yeah. If one person's thinking that way and the other person's like every 2 months, you're like, we need a break, right? We need a break, right? And that keeps happening. What you don't realize, what ends up happening is that 15-year run is now going to be a 35-year run because you're not just going, right? You have two different ways of looking at it, right?
One person's going,
and the other person, right? So I feel like how I battle a lot of that is I'm way more intentional with my time. Right? Like I'll tell Sukhfir right away, like, listen, I'm working 24/7. But like when you think that we need to spend family time with our daughter, me, you, anything, like she doesn't need to convince me. She'll be like, I was looking at this vacation, I'm like already booked. Like I'm on the laptop, like let's go, right? But when I'm working, right? Sure. There's days where I come home and I want to play with my daughter, but there's just so many things I got to do. And like, part of me sacrifices that and it makes me sad. And I'm like, I don't get to play with her every single day. That's a part of the sacrifice, right? Then there's days where I don't get to sleep, right? Then there's days where I do sleep, but I'm not, making my businesses grow at a higher rate. I'm not really, pushing myself on that side. And then if you're doing it all, then you're not going to the gym, you're not working out, not your health, right? And then, so like all of it is
so there is a balance. Is what you're getting back to.
There's a balance, but it's like to each their own too. Like if somebody wants to focus on their mental health, then, kudos.
That's where a lot of this is stemming from too. They even said in the articles, like it's from mental health awareness,
which I get. Like burning out and stuff, it's obviously not a good thing to do.
And but
everyone, I think, has different limits of burnout.
That's the most important thing. I think Pretender hit it. Like self-awareness, right? You got to know your own limitations, what you're comfortable with doing.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you can't put yourself in this place where you then become lazy and you're just finding excuses to not do something.
That's like a fear of mine now.
Right?
Becoming lazy.
It's gonna roll over to so many aspects of your life.
Without you noticing.
And then like if you are gonna do something, if you have a vision and if you're chasing something, you need to see it through, right? Sure. If you stop, then like you're always gonna be like, what if? Right? What if I just kept going? And you'll hear it from people all the time. You'll hear when markets crash, they'll be like, oh, I would have bought 3 houses, right? Or you'll hear them like, oh, I wish I started this business when I was 25. But when they're in their 20s, 30s, they're not doing it. Right? And instead they're just doing the 9-to-5, they're taking the vacations, they're spending money as much as they possibly can, right? So I don't know.
You gotta do both, man.
You have to do it all. I mean, but the term work-life balance or the soft life soft
life.
You're gonna say soft?
That just feels weird. That's the word you're going with. I want to live a soft life.
Okay, let's move on to the Golden Dome.
The Golden Dome sounds like some event,
right? This guy, he tries to be epic on everything. Eh? Here's a clip of Donald Trump talking about his proposed Golden Dome.
In the campaign, I promised the American people that I would build a cutting-edge missile defense shield to protect our homeland from the threat of foreign missile attack. And that's what we're doing. Today, I'm pleased to announce that we have officially selected an architecture for this state-of-the-art system that will deploy next-generation technologies across the land, sea, and space, including space-based sensors and interceptors. And Canada has called us and they want to be a part of it. So we'll be talking to them. They want to have protection also.
At least he's talking to us.
As usual, we help Canada.
Yeah, you help us a lot.
This design for the Golden Dome will integrate with our existing defense capabilities and should be fully operational before the end of my term. So we'll have it done in about 3 years.
3 years. Yeah.
Once fully constructed, the Golden Dome will be capable of intercepting missiles, even if they are launched from other sides of the world, and even if they're launched from space. And we will have the best system ever built. As you know, we helped Israel with theirs, and it was very successful. And now we have technology that's even far advanced from that. But including hypersonic missiles, ballistic missiles, and advanced cruise missiles, all of them will be knocked out of the air. We will truly be completing the job that President Reagan started 40 years ago, forever ending the missile threat to the American homeland. And the success rate is very close to 100%, which is incredible when you think of it. You're shooting bullets out of the air.
Okay.
Before we react to that, here's a clip of Mark Carney talking about where Canada stands.
We're conscious that we have an ability, if we so choose, to complete the Golden Dome with investments and partnership. And it's something that we are looking at, and something that has been discussed at a high level, but I'm not sure one negotiates on this. These are military decisions that are then taken in that context. And we will evaluate it accordingly. We're conscious.
If you ever want to hear somebody say nothing, what was that? Right?
Like, he's like, this isn't something you negotiate on.
Yeah, this is something we talked about, as you know.
Yeah.
And these are military things.
We don't know, Mark.
As you
tell
know.
us what
we don't know.
You're saying.
Yeah, we're not deciding anything. I'm not going to tell you anything. Things just happen.
Yeah.
Right? But yeah, so this seems like some Star Wars shit.
It's kind of absurd, right? Is this another one of his pet projects? I don't know. Trump?
It looks like it, like the wall?
Yeah, kind of, right? That thing's done. This one is going to get done in 3 years, he's saying. A little under 3 years or over, whatever you're saying.
I think it's a lot of... It's going to be in the planning phases and it'll start off, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think it'll actually be done.
Yeah.
Right? But like, even if he was talking about, he's like, it's going to be 100% success rate.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because if you're going to look at that, right? If you're saying that it's hitting long-range missiles and hypersonic missiles, you're talking about nukes.
Yeah.
Right? So if you look at the Iron Dome, you have missiles that come in at a couple 100 kilometers, 100 miles, right? Because they're right around it, right? Those are long-range missiles. They're not hypersonic missiles, right? So if a long-range missile hits Israel, right? Like when Iran launched those drone attacks on Israel, if they knock out like 95% of them and one of them hits a building, it's not going to, like, you know, do too much damage. Yes, there's some damage, but they're knocking him out, right?
Yeah.
If a hypersonic missile is sent from Russia or China to North America, if you don't hit that thing out of the sky, it's game over, right? Sure. You're talking about a nuke, right? So if you're going to spend this much money, that shit better be 100%.
But how much is it going to be? In theory, it makes a lot of sense. What they... their startup cost is $25 billion.
$25 billion.
Yeah.
I read the whole thing is going to end up costing $500 billion.
Like they estimated, the Trump administration, that it would be $175 billion. And then the Congressional Budget Office, they estimated anywhere from 160 to 540. And that's over 20 years.
That's a lot of money. So isn't that just going to be the American taxpayers that are going to end up having to pay for it?
Kind of.
Well, it depends. Like if how you're gonna handle that. Do you cut social welfare and not raise taxes, or do you raise taxes as kind of like how they usually do that? Like, what your take on it is that it's ridiculous? Like, what are you thinking?
Kind of. For me, it feels like a little bit like two guys. Like, in theory, it makes a lot of sense what you were saying, right? But I just start feeling like it's two guys who are kind of going back on their word. Both of them.
Politically speaking,
right? There's Trump, who ran on a platform of eliminating bureaucracy. He put this whole, what the hell would they call Doge?
Yeah.
Right? And they're supposed to cut all the unnecessary...
I can see that argument. Yeah.
Unnecessary government agencies and whatnot, right? And here this guy is creating a whole new one.
Yeah.
And then you got Carney over there who ran... He didn't even have another platform. His one thing was, I will take down Trump, right? That's what he was running on, not USA, Trump specifically.
Yeah.
So this guy gets into office, and what the hell does he do? First thing he does is fly out to Trump. Okay, we'll do that. And then Bloomberg's reporting now already that in April, there was already talks of like getting rid of these tariffs. It was pretty much a done situation. Bloomberg reported on that. Like it was done, and he kept that hush-hush.
Yeah.
Now this guy's just like proposing this thing. He's not, I didn't hear no pushback in that. It's also hard to understand what the hell he's actually talking about.
Yeah.
But I didn't hear him pushing back. He's like, that's not something you really negotiate. It's just something what you do.
What?
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, I feel like I can, to speak to your points, like everything that you're saying.
Yeah.
I do see him flip-flopping here with this Trump thing, and we talked about it on the pod numerous times, right? Like how these tariffs are going to go away. It doesn't matter who's in the office, right? It's just something temporary, right? And if you looked at the voters when the Canadian elections were going on, oh yeah, Donald Trump, man, that's the main thing. That's the enemy. That's who we're voting for. Somebody to beat Trump, right? And like, Trump's going to do what Trump does.
Trump's still doing whatever the hell he wants.
Carney, Polyev, you can bring Chrétien back. He doesn't care who the hell is there. He's going to do this. Right? And you see it with Harvard, right? If somebody says no to him, he just doubles down. He goes harder. He'll go to court. He'll do whatever. He doesn't care, right? He'll destroy the economy. He does not give a shit, right? That's just kind of like how he's going about it. But this whole thing, I'm not actually completely against it.
In theory.
No, not only in theory. Hear me out.
In practicality?
So, because it's an extension of NORAD. Okay. Right? So I think one thing to consider if you're Canada is that you're not part of the conversation when it comes to any kind of missile defense. Right? Because I think back in 2005, Paul Martin declined to join. Right? When the U.S. developed their their missile defense system that they use now, which was basically as I guess you could say, because of North Korea, right? They were scared of long-range missiles and the threats coming from them, so they developed a system to which Paul Martin said he didn't want to join. Right? So what that does is Canada's not in any kind of discussions when it comes to missile defense for North America. Right? That's solely based on the US, and we shouldn't be because it's not systems that we've paid for. Right? And on the flip side of it, you've already seen Mark Carney's administration say that they're going to spend $40 billion over the next 20 years, right, to make NORAD more modern, right, they were saying. And I think they did already buy some sort of radar from Australia. I think it's like $6 billion, right? So theoretically, what you could do here, if you're smart, if you're Canada, is if you're getting advanced radar systems, you could use that strategically and make it part of this Golden Dome system, right? If you're going to spend $40 billion on the North, and a lot of that, some of it seems like it's for radar detection. You could see how they could work together here, right? And if this thing's going to end up costing $500 billion and Canada's putting in 40, 50, 60 billion, right? Yes, they don't get enough, but it gets them in the room, right? And the one thing that was alarming to me, right when this thing comes out, China's like, they shouldn't be doing this. They shouldn't be doing this.
This number one person.
So if China and Russia right away are like, this is wrong, right? You got to think like, what's going on, right? And then on top of it all, in the North, we always hear about submarines and Chinese, being in the airspace. And Canada, yes, this isn't conventional warfare to back them up. But think about all the times you feel that Canada's disrespected a little bit, right? Most of the people that would attack Canada are thousands of kilometers away.
For sure.
Right? This kind of negates that somewhat and lets you be one of the bigger players. Right. Plus, if Mark Carney's smart, right, I think he's going to do it because it also lets you hit that 2% NATO target by 2030.
That's what I was going to say. The 2% target, even if it probably helps you get away with not meeting it because you're going to fund one of his projects that he's behind, right? You just back one of his things. He might let you get away with spending less. It's a nice way to do it.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like to me, I'm trying to look at it objectively, right? Like as a Canadian, I do want the Canadian military to be stronger, right? Because I feel like people push us around, right? As a country, right? So if you have a missile defense system, like nobody's going to push you around, right? And then you can just continue to work on your conventional warfare.
But what makes you think he's going to actually act like it's ours?
What do you mean?
He's saying it right now. We always help Canada.
Trump.
He's going to act like it's theirs. America as a whole is always going to act like it's theirs.
Sure. But if Canada's part of it, at least you get to be in the room.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Instead of being like, guys, please just help us, right? Like your radars and stuff are helping, right? Maybe you're on the operational side of it, right? Maybe
I just really don't like the being lied to thing either. Don't tell me this is going to be done in 3 years.
Well, that's Trump being Trump, man. You know what he does, right?
What about his wall? Is that done yet?
I mean, could they have used it? yeah, it's been a while, but like they could have.
Just a wall. They're building this thing in space. He's like, that'll be done in 3 years.
Where did talks of this come from? Like, did he campaign? I never heard of it.
It's Reagan. Back in the day, they talked about this.
Yeah, but did Trump ever? Before
no, he mentioned it once, not once, but he's mentioned it. It's in his rallies, press conferences, where he's like, we can develop a system that can knock nukes out of the sky, right? And like, they didn't talk about nuclear weapons during this press conference, but that's basically what they're alluding to.
Yeah.
Right? Which I don't know how much of that is true. I'm not smart enough to know how missile defense systems work, especially ones that are operating from space, right?
Yeah.
But to me, if you can knock nukes out of the sky, and you spend $1 trillion doing that, nobody can say shit to you.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want. And all of this talk about world superpowers going to change. Like you'll constantly hear about empires rising and fall, right?
Yeah.
You'll see the Mongolians, the way that they fell, right? Genghis Khan, right?
Yeah.
Then you see the Roman Empire and the way that they fell, right? No empires last forever, right?
Yeah.
Right now it's America's turn, right?
Yeah.
People constantly talk about when's the American Empire going to fall, right?
Sounds like you're talking about Star Wars.
The Empire Strikes Back.
When the Empire's going to fall.
So do you think it'll trigger like an arms race? Other countries will try.
That's what China said.
Yeah.
Right?
If they're immediately concerned, probably that's where it would be headed.
Yeah. That's what it seems like. If they're intimidated by this, or they want to be better than the US.
But don't you guys think, like, as Canadians, like, something on the military side needs to happen? Like,
for sure. Yeah.
Right? It's spending a lot of money, but a part of me, like, I'm being optimistic, but I'm a little bit excited. Like, yo, Canada,
why wouldn't you want the security?
Right?
Yeah.
It's just about the cost and the
time. Like, where?
Well, if he's going to spend the money anyways.
That's the other side of it, though, right? Like, that we're not... In Canada, especially this government, they're not going to cut social welfare programs.
Yeah.
The only way we're going to pay for this is there'll be a new carbon tax, or they'll call it something else, tax. Right? Yeah, they're saving the environment. No, mostly. We're putting spaceships in the sky, whatever. Let's move on to tariffs. So recently Trump threatened the EU with 50% tariffs, and then he also said he wants iPhones made in the US.
Yeah. I mean, tariffs were and always will be a negotiating tactic. It just feels like whenever countries don't listen to this guy, tariffs come back. And he's imposing them on EU, or threatening, right? 50% now?
50%.
So even just the other day, he told Starmer to dump the use of his windmills, and he's like, just increase drilling in the North Sea. Right? So it's not even like, it's like, now you're kind of interfering in their policy, right?
Yeah.
It's a little more than just normally.
Just remember how you were saying that he made the conservative brand toxic? Right?
Yeah.
Even then, if you look at this, maybe you could see, like, Starmer's obviously on the left, right?
Yeah.
And then if you see somebody, if you're in the UK and you're on the right, right? If you see somebody like Trump forcing these people to drill and shut down their climate stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe people there are like, oh, I like that, right? But then the left will feed into the patriotism and be like, hey, that's wrong. You shouldn't be interfering, which you shouldn't be interfering.
You shouldn't really. But like, I think it's even as much as like, he doesn't like waiting at all. Even with this war, he's like, if you're going to take too long, I'm out.
Yeah.
Even with these tariffs, he's just like, he tells the country, he's like, okay, negotiation, deal. But they already had a deal, these guys in place, right? With the UK.
Yeah,
it was done. How do you just slap more tariffs? I don't know.
But that deal, I remember when they announced it, it was pretty much nothing. Deal. There was like nothing in that deal that was like a big, move in any way, right? Yeah. I also feel like he kind of lucked out at the timing of his administration this time and these tariffs, because the economic climate, globally, we're basically heading into a global recession. Every single country is struggling, right? And at that time, if you're going to be like, hey guys, tariffs, everyone's going to panic. Right? If this guy was talking about tariffs like 4 years ago during the pandemic when everyone thought they were rich, like, whatever, 100% bring it on. Right? Everyone's going on vacations, right? Living their best life.
The timing of it, maybe he wanted it that way, right? Or didn't want it.
No, sometimes things just fall into your lap.
Fall into his lap,
Right?
And then his new enemy is what, Tim Cook?
Yeah, Tim Cook's the other guy who just keeps catching. Like, Tim Cook went from somebody who's like highly respected to like now everyone's talking about how many mistakes he's made and everything that's going on with him. I a little bit feel bad for him, right?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
And then like these iPhones that like first he says, you know, get them out of China. Right. Then that deal happens where you move the iPhones to India. Right. And now he's like, hold on. They shouldn't just stay in India, guys. These need to be made
they gotta end up back here,
right?
And I had a little problem with Tim Cook yesterday. I said to him, Tim, you're my friend. I treated you very good. You're coming in with $500 billion, but now I hear you're building all over India. I don't want you building in India. You can build in India if you want to take care of India, because India is one of the highest tariff nations in the world. It's very hard to sell into India. And they've offered us a deal where basically they're willing to literally charge us no tariff. So we go from the highest tariff. You couldn't do business in India.
That's great.
We're not even at top 30 in India because the tariff is so high, to a point where they have actually told us, I assume you too, Scott, you were working on that also, that there will be no tariff, right? Would you say that's a difference? They're the highest, and now they're saying no tariff. But I said to Tim, Tim, look, we've treated you really good. We put up with all the plants that you built in China for years. Now you got to build us. We're not interested in you building in India.
Yeah, he doesn't want companies moving from China to India.
Yeah.
He wants them back in the States, right?
Yeah.
But he even said he made them commit to $500 billion, and they're going to increase that.
They did that before, right? But even iPhones, like we've seen that Dave Chappelle clip. Like, I don't know. At the end of the day, even if you're going to, how much of that stuff are you going to move? Here. Or even to the States,
if you're going to move the like line work here, factories and stuff, you already see these guys. They don't even want to go to normal jobs. Not that other jobs aren't normal, but
I mean, I feel like when it comes to Trump, the best thing to do is kind of just ignore him. The more you like
he laid off Mexico quite a bit, right?
Yeah, Mexico just stayed quiet. There's like, well, you know what?
Or anyone that doesn't get in his way or say anything.
Like recently, he's laid off of Canada.
Yeah,
laid off
for the most part. Especially
if
they just keep agreeing with him, right?
Mark Carney's like, we're just not gonna say anything. He doesn't say anything anyways, right? So perfect person for that. You saw that clip, right? Yeah, he's just like, I'm not gonna say anything. We just talk and we discuss.
This isn't something
the Golden Dome. Yes, we discuss. That's it, right? Yeah. That's the play.
Every Mark Carney clip.
Should we move on?
Sure.
To this new EV pickup truck that everyone's talking about because it's supposed to cost only $25,000. Here's a clip.
Is a Slate. This Slate seats 2 and can carry sheets of plywood. This Slate seats 5 and can fit tons in the frunk. It's actually the same Slate. This is narrated by me, Jeff. I work at Slate and just happen to have a great voice.
He really does.
That's Kris, our CEO. Kris thinks new cars are too expensive and too complicated.
A Slate cost in the mid-20s. Brand new.
One sec, Kris. Actually, under 20 after current incentives. Go ahead, Kris.
We took out everything that wasn't a car.
That means no fancy screen, colored lighting, cooled seats, self-driving, self-parking, automatic cup holders. Yes, that's a thing.
What the hell?
But you can add accessories like
little screen, big screen, SUV kit, fastback kit, open air kit, one speaker, a bunch of speakers, big bumper, spare tire holder, slatelets, fun grills, even funner lights. Colors. Any color. Really. Wrap it in any color. And Slate Access Points means you can add an accessory now, later, or even make one yourself.
It's like a potato head.
Yeah.
Wait, maybe there's a better analogy.
Actually, there is. Slate is the chameleon of trucks and SUVs. Seriously, just add the SUV kit.
There are 3.
A Slate is not like other cars, or trucks, or SUVs.
Yeah.
And Slate is not like other car
companies.
Slate. We built it. You make it.
No, I think the whole thing is like, you know how like Jeeps, you can add like Mopar accessories afterwards, but like a lot of that you have to go to your mechanic.
Yeah.
The way that they market this thing is that you can kind of just add that stuff on by yourself. Right.
Okay.
So it's kind of like made in this easy way where you can just, it's like building a model thing. It's like a toy.
It's what draws somebody to a Jeep even.
It is.
Throw the wants just the base model these days.
The thing I don't get about this, like automatic cup holders, is that just when it keeps your cup in place?
Hot, I think.
Holder hot.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's an option?
Yeah, that's what he said. You didn't know that?
Yeah, living a different life.
I didn't know that either.
I thought it meant just, you know, the things that keep
right
the
away,
cup
he's like,
in
there's
the cup
levels
holder?
to this.
What did you think it meant?
You know, when you put your
it's
cup,
those little dots on the sides that like
hold it in place
in the middle.
I thought it was just that, but okay.
That's just a cup holder, bro. You don't have an automatic cup holder.
I thought I had one.
He's like, oh, like my car, the fancy one.
Man.
But yeah,
what the hell was my point? I don't remember.
I think the price is what gets people talking about it, and I think
that's stupid.
There's definitely a market for it in terms of the price, because like you're saying, if somebody doesn't have the screens,
well, I'm thinking like automatic windows. Like, let's go basic.
That's what they are. They're automatic. They're roll-up windows.
That's what I mean. Who wants that?
Nobody.
If you're going
to a drive-through, wanting it down.
I think the problem with this thing is
you got to pull it prepped.
If it was the size of like an F-150, sure, right? But it's a compact pickup truck with a regular cab with a small bed, right? So the market for that is similar to what the Hyundai Santa Cruz or the Ford Maverick. No, Ranger's a midsize, right? So it's smaller.
Trunk in the front too, so there's more room.
So there's that, but like if you're gonna, if you're gonna throw stuff in it and take it, and I think the Maverick starts around like 30K too. Yeah, and it's not like crazy expensive.
This one with the tax credits, it gets down to 20 or below.
It's
bare bones.
Yeah, but I think like I'm saying, I think it's interesting because my criticism of EVs is that they're always very expensive.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're going to make something that's now going to get mass produced, if it is, right, and it's consumed by a lot of people, this is the one.
Yeah.
Right. Something like this. Right. And apparently what's making it cheaper is, like I was mentioning during the our intro.
Yeah.
That Vancouver's X-Row Technologies is involved.
Okay.
What they're doing is that they're basically getting the cost down by eliminating this onboard auxiliary charger inverter.
Okay.
Right. So if they can somehow turn that, they're saying that, into a coil driver inverter, which basically not only reduces the cost, it also makes them incredibly efficient to charge and really quick to charge.
Okay.
Right. Which makes this thing more capable of being like mass produced and being charged like you're talking right, like of replacing gas vehicles, right, if that's where it's headed.
That's the main thing, the amount of time, right?
Of course, me being me, I quickly went to see what X-Row was trading at on the stock market. I think it was like 8 cents or something, or is it 6? I can't remember exactly, but I remember when I checked it, I was like, if this thing takes off,
pretty good buy.
That's not financial advice. Do whatever the hell you guys want. I'm just thinking, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. But it's kind of interesting that this thing is called Slate. And I saw a bunch of people saying that it's an anagram for Tesla. Like, you can kind of read it. It's not exactly one, right? And it's backed by Bezos.
Yeah.
Right? So you can argue.
That's the thing. When I read into this, I'm like, it's backed by Jeff Bezos.
Yeah. Is this a billionaire pissing contest?
For sure, right? And the other thing, the Slate, it's an anagram.
Right? Yeah.
So you can
name letters. That's weird.
Yeah. That's pretty in your face about it. He's not being shy about it, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, so it seems like it's like a Bezos versus Elon thing.
A
little bit, right? And I think we have a video clip of Elon who's now talking about pulling back on his political spending.
I think in terms of political spending, I'm going to do a lot less in the future.
Damn.
And why is that?
It's kind of sad.
I think I've done enough.
Aww. Is it because of blowback?
Well, if I see a reason to do political spending in the future, I will do it. I do not currently see a reason.
Okay. What about
I think dodged the question too, right? He dodged the question then. She's like, is it because of blowback? If I'll see a reason.
Well, he seems like, to what most people think, that he's a little extreme. I think he's trying to be a little logical there, right? Like, maybe he sees that his time is more efficiently spent on producing more technologies, right?
And like, people start coming for you, like this guy. He's trying to get in your car market.
Yeah, there's rumors of the Tesla board finding replacements for Elon. There's a bunch of things going on, right? If you're going to pay too much attention to politics, right? And you have SpaceX and you have Tesla and you have Starlink and you have all of these things going on, right? Like, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Right? So, and then you're going to get the scrutiny and the pushback. You see those crazy people that are lighting Tesla.
Man, after I saw that, even it made me feel bad for him.
Why?
Because he even on Rogan.
Billionaire?
Yeah, I do. Because even on Rogan, he's just like, I fear for my life. I think he means it. And now he's like, shit, I was just trying to do something I thought was good.
Yeah, I mean, I said this before when it comes to politics, which you even find out with even podcasting, right? Whenever you say something, nobody agrees with your opinion 100%. There's going to be people that really dislike whatever you're saying. They're on the complete opposite side. And I think anyone who isn't in the space of politics or in this opinion space, you don't understand the pushback that you get.
For sure.
Right? People want to live in this echo chamber where they listen to people who just echo their sentiment. And if you don't, they get angry.
Yeah.
Right? And they start writing things on Tesla.
They don't want perspective or anything.
No. Why would they want that? That's just ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
But I think when he comes to that realization, I think also, I will say, I don't see many people coming to his defense. They kind of like left him out there.
Yeah.
Right? Like during the campaign trail, when they needed the funding, when everything was going on,
all
then it was Elon next to Trump. Oh, Elon's the next. He's going to be this. He's going to be that. Without him, nothing. Now, it's just like, I don't know if Elon's doing good.
It's a cruel world,
to judge him or whatever, right? Like, it is.
I don't think I would buy one of these trucks anyway. With all the upgrades I would want, I feel like I would get in the price range anyway. It would be like 50, 60K.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds exciting. I think the exciting part of it is that it's an electric vehicle.
Yeah.
Right? And that's a cost-effective one. Right? Other than that, like if you can look at it from a small compact pickup truck, which I'm not a fan of anyways, Ford Mavericks and these Hyundai Santa Cruz, no offense to anyone that has one, but pickup trucks, get a full-size pickup truck, right? But I think if somebody's going to get in the EV market and they're into that, I do think if there are options to not pay so much for the extra stuff, I think it's a good option to have, right? But you know what's always weird to me? As you progress with technology, right? It's not like we make the new thing cheaper. We just take things away and we're like, what you used to get for way cheaper, you can get that now for just slightly more expensive.
You can start off with this horrible version. And if you want to improve it, it's going to cost.
But if you want to pay triple the price, you can have a fridge in your car.
Right? I just don't see who this would appeal to. Like, to think like a simple person just needs a regular pickup truck. They're not going to now move to an electric. They want a regular. If they don't want anything, any screens or anything, they're going to want a gas pickup truck.
Has to be a person who is conscious of like environment and stuff like that.
It's also a rear wheel drive car, right? So in Canada, EVs don't do well anyways in the wintertime, right? So a rear wheel drive one on top of that is probably not going to do well. But I feel like, who does it appeal to? I think the future of it is definitely exciting, right? Because they can do a car, they can do a full-size pickup truck. If they somehow can, if this thing costs $25,000, right? And we're making fun of it, sure.
Yeah.
But if they can make a full-size version of this thing and it costs 40 grand, people will buy it. A lot of people will buy it
with the full bed, right?
Yeah, a lot of people will buy it. It's gonna
because a lot of truck people are bare bones anyway.
Ford Lightning costs $90,000, right? Like the Cybertruck costs like $100 grand, right? Like if you're gonna, like it's where this thing will sell like hotcakes if they do that, right? So and if they're gonna make the charging faster, right? So the future for it is definitely exciting because you're entering a market for people who probably would want to make the choice of going EV, but they just don't.
Yeah.
Right?
That would be more anti-Cybertruck. They're marketing this as the anti-Cybertruck. I don't think it is.
the Cybertruck will eat this thing. Right? This is more like a toy, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, let's move on to Toronto Council has approved bubble zones.
Okay.
After more than a year of debate, Toronto City Council approved a controversial motion on Thursday to limit protests outside places of worship, schools, and childcare centers. The bylaw, which will come into effect July 2nd, allows owners of these institutions to apply to have the city enforce temporary protest-free zones of 50 meters outside their doors. This is an increase over staff's recommendation of 20 meters, a motion successfully moved by James Pasternak. His initial push to extend the zones to 100 meters failed. Little count. I don't think I have the rest of the article there.
Okay. Anyway, they're getting rid of, or they're enforcing these zones around what? Childcare centers, schools?
Yeah.
Places of worship.
Yeah.
I don't see anything particularly wrong with that. I don't think those are places where protests should be gathering.
I agree.
I don't see anything wrong with this either, but it did get a lot of pushback. Apparently, there's like 43,000 respondents who were like, this was wrong. People in the city council, when they were like voting for it, were like protesting it or some shit. And then I think it's a little bit complicated because I don't want to. People should have the right to protest.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
I'm not one of those ones that are ever going to be a part of protests. It's not my thing. But if that's what you guys like to do, go for it.
Yeah.
Kudos, right. I don't think it kind of coincides with my belief on freedom of speech, right?
Sure.
Freedom of expression.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I think in a country it's healthy to have these protests. Sure, right. But like you're saying, when it comes to places of worship, right? You're talking about also childcare centers. Right, and then
Unless
schools.
They're like protesting the daycare specifically.
Even
You
then,
have no need to like.
Even then, there's children that go to the
Well, I
daycare.
don't protest ever.
No, but I'm
So
just saying, like,
I don't understand.
I get it. You're being hyperbolic, right?
Yeah.
But even in that scenario,
Yeah.
right? Like, there's.
Like imagine like okay they're not feeding the children properly, so parents.
So there's gonna be a bunch of parents outside with picket signs scaring the shit out of these 3-year-olds. Just take your kids home.
Yeah.
Right.
like for me, the only time I get protesting at the place would be like a consulate or something, like a embassy for a country downtown. You're in front of that place,
right?
Or like if it was a daycare, you go to the bigger company and you go protest there. Something that makes sense. Like a lot of the times the protest is just you want to do it in a busy area to get people's attention, right? You don't got to do it in front of the place.
Yeah.
And these ones I have absolutely no problem with. People getting away from schools and places of worship.
But like schools, that include like universities too?
Well,
because isn't that the
maybe
whole
that's
thing
where the
of what they're
backlash is
saying
from.
About
university
Harvard?
students love protest.
Yeah, they want to be allowed to do it.
That's
or even
one
places
side
of worship like churches, temples, people protest out.
Which
but
I
maybe
don't know if they should.
I don't understand when it gets violent. I don't agree with that, but I just don't know what they're protesting. Again,
Honestly,
like I'm not in a mind of a protester. I don't.
Okay, but
50 meters isn't even that far. I
A
feel
lot
like
of those places you're talking about are private property, right?
Yeah.
So when it says 50 meters, it's talking about sidewalks and roads, right?
Yeah.
City property, right? So it's like, do you want to be on the sidewalk in front of a place of worship to go protest it? Why? Right? Like,
No.
right? Like, okay.
people do.
And to what you guys are saying, like if it was that black and white, I could see the pushback, right?
Yeah.
You know, on top of it all, you still have to apply to get this thing approved to get the right.
It's probably
right?
not even
They
that
decide still. It kind of
Right.
means nothing.
Yeah.
Right? Like still they could be like, oh no, that's not a good enough reason. You don't get the 50 meter.
Yeah.
Like so. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people, I feel like, just get up and they get enraged and they start giving pushback on stupid shit for absolutely no reason.
For sure.
Right? And I think to add to this whole thing, Olivia Chow voted against it.
Against it? This lady makes no sense, man.
She makes perfect sense. You could tell who she is by taking one look at her, man. I feel like Toronto is so far left at this point.
Toronto, the city of Toronto.
Even this, right? Like how much outrage over 50 meters? It went up from 20 to 50 meters. When he said, remember the bike lanes? The bike lanes, the bikers were like, hey.
A lot of people use bikes in Toronto.
Oh, that hit a soft spot.
No, I don't.
Hold on. Protest? I'm with you, but bikes don't.
No, I can understand it, is what I'm saying. A lot of food delivery and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Biking in general.
Yeah. Let's move on to sports.
All right. Let's get into some sports. First thing we got is SGA.
There we go. Kid Canada.
Yeah.
Right.
Second Canadian in history.
Right. Steve Nash.
Get the award. Yeah. Steve Nash. Steve Nash got 2 of them. One of them was, I think there was some debate over Shaq should have got it or something.
Shaq's been saying it should have been his. He's been saying that. Yeah.
So, yeah, with this guy, first I think we should just roll his. I think we have the clip of him. So that's him winning the trophy. A mural. That's his old high school. They put up a mural of him.
It's pretty cool,
and man. I didn't realize this. All 3 of the players from OKC.
And then,
that's
the one and only Haley Summers.
This part went viral. He's like thanking his wife.
Thank you.
Was he thanking?
His wife.
Sorry, I'm so dramatic. Haley Summers, thank you for everything you are for me, for our son Aries. You were the first person to show me what love really meant. What love really meant, what sacrifice really meant. And I can't wait to spend the rest of this journey called life with you. So thank you for everything. I wouldn't be the man I am. I wouldn't be the player I am. I wouldn't be the father I am without you. But thank you for that. So thank you, everybody.
Yeah, I don't even. I feel like that's the new you're the real MVP, like Durant with his mom. I don't even know if they're married. Actually, I don't know. Did he say wife?
He said wife.
He said wife.
Yeah, he said wife. Yeah.
Okay, I guess they're married.
I mean, I don't know if it's an emotional moment. You're wearing MVP, right?
Yeah.
You can try to minimize it, marginalize it, take whichever adjective you want to, but I don't think it's something small, right? Yeah. And I think it's kind of cool because I think oftentimes a wife, especially in athlete's eyes or in anybody, we're talking about work-life balances and stuff, right? In marriages and relationships, there's a lot of sacrifices, right? And it's very easy to be like, she's the wife of a athlete, like sit at home and take care of the kids, right? But everyone has dreams, everyone has aspirations, which you gotta sacrifice, right? Because somebody else is going out there and making it. They're going to get in the bread, right? Yeah. So it's kind of cool that he's given, his wife a shout out, right? Like
it is.
I seen some pushback online. People are talking about like, oh, why isn't he talking about his mom?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
no, he does. I saw that too. Right before that, he thanks his mom.
Yeah.
I just left that out. It was a long clip.
Yeah. But like you look online, like how people are, right? Like you have this person who looks like to me as a positive role model, right? Yeah. He's a father, he's a husband, right? He's doing things right. He's thanking his wife. You're like, what about his mom, bro? What about his mom? He couldn't thank his mom?
That's the world we live in, man.
But yeah, no, I thought it was really cool, man. Somebody from Canada winning an MVP. And then, you know what's weird to me? OKC is now back in a position that they haven't been since the Durant days. And they got back here pretty quickly if you look at it.
Yeah.
Ever since
through those trades, right?
Yeah. And then the fall off happened. I think after Russ went, that's when everything kind of just...
It wasn't that bad for that long.
Yeah, it didn't last that long.
Yeah. It was a quick rebuild.
Right?
Impressive.
And now, though, I mean, like, looking at him, he's one of my favorite players right now, man.
Yeah, he plays an exciting game. He reminds me of, like, Kobe a lot, the way that he plays, his style.
Yeah. If you want to say Anthony Edwards is like MJ, this guy's more like Kobe, right?
Exactly.
I see the
kind of MJ Kobe going on right now. I don't know. They steamrolled him now. That series is good too. It's not over yet.
No.
But there's a lot of talk now, I guess, is where does he rank amongst greatest Canadians?
Basketball players?
Like, I did look at it, and it's not that crazy of a list.
Yeah,
obviously, Steve's number one.
Yeah.
Right? And then you've got, what's it called? Not in order, but the best. However you want to rank them. I guess second would have to be Jamal Murray. And then there's like RJ Barrett, Andrew Wiggins. And I might be leaving some guys off, but it starts getting pretty bad. There's Kelly Olynyk, and that's where it ends up. I think he's already F5-ish, probably there among those guys.
5?
Wiggins has a championship.
Wiggins has a championship. Jamal Murray has a championship. Right. But none of them have MVPs.
Yeah. Right. And Nash doesn't have any championships.
No, and Nash doesn't have championships. Yeah. Nash has 2 MVPs, right? Yeah. None of those guys have.
But he changed the game. He like popularized it here.
For sure, but like I see something in this kid that I haven't seen in a. This is a Canadian superstar. When's the last time you had a Canadian superstar?
Superstar in the NBA
is probably the closest one, right? Yeah. You get Jamal Murray, Jokic is not a superstar on that team, right? No. Andrew Wiggins, he had Steph Curry when they won the championship, right?
Yeah.
If Shai pulls that off this year or any other year, right? That's him. That's
especially if he does it right now,
right? And the way that he's rolling, man, this kid, he balls, man.
Yeah. This is the beginning of his career too. It's not like he's entering his prime or about to enter.
He's already got an MVP.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm a fan of this kid, man. And I'm proud that he's Canadian, and basketball here has gotten on that level where you have an MVP Canadian.
Yeah.
Right? And one that's like a superstar.
It's the second one ever, right? It's pretty cool. Yeah. Even that mural going up outside his high school, probably get some kids into it. It expands the game, right?
The mural's really cool.
Yeah, it is. MVP.
Yeah. That's cool.
But
Canada.
Yeah, I think if he gets it done this year, I think he automatically jumps to 2 on that list, or 1 right away.
If he wins MVP,
greatest Canadian NBA
Finals
player.
MVP, and he wins a championship, Steve Nash gets knocked off that mountain like this, and is Shai at the top.
Yeah,
right. So but that's a big mountain to climb, right?
Steve's held that for a long time. You got to give him respect, but I don't know. We'll see.
Let's move on to Haliburton.
Yeah. Did you see what was going on with this?
Pulling the Reggie Miller?
Yeah. A little premature, I think.
Yeah.
This was the infamous choke.
Yeah.
Reggie did it.
Look at his face.
Yeah.
I tried to gather myself and knock the shot down. I thought it was a 3. I tried to hit the Stanley, and it didn't work, but we finished it in overtime. So, man.
And you had to do the choke sign too, right?
Yeah. Everybody's been wanting me to do it. I was going to hold it for the right time. That felt appropriate. And then, it went to overtime. So we're going to have to save it for later.
With all the...
Yeah.
It would have been so embarrassing if they lost.
If they lost? Yeah. But if it was actually a 3, he thought it was a 3. He thought the game was over. That's why he did it.
Yeah.
That's the only part he messed up. But this
the guy whose dad was like,
what the hell,
Yeah, I feel like between him, Shai, and Ant, right? Like it's pretty cool to watch these guys now, man. The torch is passed. Like we've been talking about it every single week, right? And I feel like now these guys are the guys, and it's cool, man.
This guy is impressing me though, man.
Yeah, all of them.
I didn't know he was. I never watched Indy play.
Nobody does.
Indiana, right? But when I do watch this guy, it seems like he wants all the smoke. This guy loves it. And even that, he hit that, and then he did the choke thing, goes into OT, gets it done anyway. They're up 2-0 on the Knicks. I don't know.
I mean, if this podcast is anything when it comes to sports, we're the biggest jinx ever. Right? I'm like, I could see Knicks making the finals, right? And they're down.
The Knicks really are the Leafs, so we got that right.
Right.
The way they're losing, they're up 20 points. End of the game, they just lose. They did that to him twice.
Imagine a New York fan. Disheartening as hell, man.
I feel like this guy's stock's really rising, though. These guys are making a name for themselves this playoffs.
I mean, it's cool, man. If they can repeat this kind of play into the future,
it's good for the league.
Yeah, so it's great for the league.
For sure.
Right? But
see
Gretzky.
Other league, what was going on? Gretzky's up to his shenanigans again.
So what happened with this guy? He went to the Dallas locker room?
Yeah. Well, so the worst part of it, they're playing Winnipeg.
Yeah.
And Winnipeg loses the game, and he goes to Dallas's locker room to congratulate them.
Yeah.
I think we do have a clip of what he...
Congrats. He's got to come in and say hi. Come here. Got special guest. Hey, anybody knows how to win championships, it's this gentleman right here.
Congratulations. The greatest game in the world, and you're going to go up against one of the greatest teams ever, Edmonton. I wish you good luck. It was so much fun watching you guys play today. You guys play hard, you play physical, and you play fair, and you guys should be so proud.
What's her name?
And Winnipeg was so good, and I'm so proud of Mark Scheifele, his dad passing, and I know all you guys all care about each other. What a wonderful night for him as far as, He played his heart out. So congratulations. And now we got Edmonton, Dallas.
Oh, Shai flee. That was something I even missed.
Don't put him on the spot. Don't put him on the spot.
Hey, can we enjoy the night tonight?
Yeah. Anyway, that's him congratulating them. He goes into the Dallas locker room. I missed that part. He's talking about Shai flee. His dad passed away the morning of that game. He's on the Winnipeg Jets. So he played that game throughout that heartbreak. He loses that game. And I don't know. People make a lot of it. You can always argue that probably 60% of that team is Canadian anyway. And he probably has ties within the organization, right? My whole thing is like, whoever the hell is running this guy's PR needs to be fired, because like first he goes out and he's always buddy with Trump. Then he's congratulating or walks out and gives daps to the whole US team during the Four Nations. And I think during this series or another one, he's in a booth with Kash Patel. Like, whatever, your friends, it's cool, right? Just go to the Winnipeg locker room too. Maybe do that first. Just think about what you're doing. Like, how's it going to be received? People are hating on him again. They're like, oh, he's Team USA. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but I just think he's a little tone deaf. A lot of tone deaf. Like,
yeah, I mean, Kash Patel has recently been saying a lot of things about Canada as well.
Exactly. Right? So why are you going to go stand beside him?
Yeah. Who is that?
He's the FBI director.
Yeah, in the US. Yeah, I mean, okay, so to me, sometimes the optics of a situation look a little weird, right? Like somebody can watch this podcast and just go look at our thumbnails, and we have Trump in every single thumbnail, and they're like, "Yo, these guys love Trump." Right? And you can take clips from our podcast, and this is just American, pro-American, USA. Like, they can label us whichever way they want to. Right? But in reality, if you watch our podcast, we shit on Trump. We agree with him. We disagree with him, like we do with the Canadian politics, like we do a lot of things. We just tell everyone our opinions on things, right? So maybe this guy is a friend of Trump's even before politics, which I think he was, right? And then now, because they're so interconnected, he has that conversation, sure, right? And especially if Canada is going to have this little bit of trade tensions going on with the US, you're going to see a lot of pushback there, especially because Canadians are further left, right? When it comes to politics, right? Just a little, it's a tad bit, right? But like at the end of the day, should he, I don't know, like you're saying, the optics of a situation, do you really need to be in a Dallas locker room? I don't know.
Call them, FaceTime them.
Right.
You don't got to be right in there congratulating them.
Someone probably just pulled him in.
Was he at? So I wasn't even familiar with the situation. Was he at the game?
Yeah. He goes to a lot of them.
He goes to a lot of Dallas games?
No. Honestly, I don't know.
Right? Like maybe he was in town.
He's on a broadcast team too, so it might have been one of those situations. Like he's broadcasting or reporting on you or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Either way, the guy's tone deaf.
Yeah.
I think he's just like old and you stop giving a fuck.
Could be that too. If that's what it is, I kind of respect that. That's cool. I like when people don't give a shit.
Yeah. You get to that age, that retirement age where you're just like, I'm just going to say whatever I want.
Right.
But he came out and said, he's like, it hurt me so much. How could these guys like think I'm not Canada first? Because you keep doing shit like this. Just stop. It's not that complicated.
Remember when Trump thought Ovechkin was a...
You guys got a guy in DC too. Sniper.
But yeah, these Leafs.
Then we got our Leafs,
Right? They fire Shanahan?
They didn't renew his contract, but let him go. So Shanahan era is over. That's the president of the hockey operations. So they let him walk. So that's probably telling you where it's headed. There's probably going to be some changes coming. I think for sure this time. Maybe. I don't know. You never know with this organization.
You know what's interesting to me? Out of the entire MLSE, I was thinking about it. Is Masai the only one that's holding a presidential GM spot still? I think he is, man. I think the rest of them have been let go.
Yeah. And I think Treliving, our current GM, is going to kind of transition to that.
Yeah.
They're not planning on hiring anybody to fill that role.
I mean, I did see Marner even, there's articles surfacing that he doesn't want to resign.
Well, he's going to test free, based on the past, he just wanted a big paycheck, so he's going to test free agency. At the very least, you make the match whatever another team's putting out, right? You get the best deal possible. I don't know. I don't know if Leafs fans are gonna miss him when he goes. I don't know.
Marner?
Yeah, I think this team is, or this fan base is, like really upset and distraught right now, and they don't really give a shit. They just want change.
For sure, man. It's tough being a Leafs fan because then you also see the straight out just annihilation that Florida's doing on Carolina.
Yeah, you see what they're doing to them. You're like, yo,
the year after year, you'll see this where you're like, if Leafs got past these guys, we're going to the finals, right? And this would be another one of those, right? So sometimes I think shit just happens.
I mean, they did a game, what they did to us in Game 7. They've done that for 3 straight games.
Carolina, yeah.
So if they're doing that and we took them to 7, like, I don't know. How do you not see it?
Yeah. I mean, hopefully changes are for the better.
I think they're coming though.
And Masai, there's rumors of him being tied to Giannis, so I don't know. Maybe that could pop off. See, I don't know.
We need something. We need a win.
Yeah. There's like rumors of Giannis coming to Toronto.
There's always rumors.
There's always rumors.
Sometimes they happen.
That's when, and
Kawhi
we get
Leonard.
to talk about these things and get excited, right? And sometimes it happens for a season.
No,
right?
I think Leafs did really well though overall.
Yeah.
Other than that 7th game was.
But maybe we just stop talking about the Leafs until next season now, right?
Yeah.
Let's move on to off topic.
Okay, we're gonna start with Chris Brown.
So Chris Brown recently went to the UK for his tour, and then while he was in the UK, he actually got arrested for an assault that happened in a nightclub in 2023.
Wow.
Basically, what happened was he hit a music producer over the head with a tequila bottle, and the incident
We've all done that before.
Really?
I'm just joking.
Not really.
I mean, music producers.
Well, the incident is being treated as grievous bodily harm, which has a potential sentence of up to 16 years in prison under the UK law.
No.
So when it first happened in 2023, he was said he was going to go to the police station for questioning after his tour was done, and he didn't. He just fled back to the US. And then now he went back in 2025 and he got arrested, and then he's in jail for 6 days, and then he got granted bail for £5 million, which is approximately 6.5 mil USD. But his bail conditions are that he has to surrender his passport except for travel related to professional commitments, so like his tour. And his next court date is going to be June 20th in London. And then he posted this on Instagram, him coming off an airplane. And then Justin, like, he wrote the caption,
Cook remain humble?
Yeah, and then Justin Bieber commented, "Welcome home."
Welcome home where?
Where? What's going on?
It's, first of all, it's, I guess
he picked him up from the airport.
No, he's not even in the U.S. He has to stay in UK. They took away his passport.
I have no idea.
I guess it's just kind of like a perception, make people think that he's like fine now, but he's like not.
Okay.
And also the fact that Justin Bieber had to comment on it.
This guy comments on a lot of things he shouldn't be commenting on.
Who, Bieber?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just adds to like all the things that Chris Brown's like has a history of legal issues, like including that 2009 assault with Rihanna.
Yeah.
And after that, he was actually banned to go into the UK from 2010. Then the ban was lifted in 2020, so 10 years later.
He's like, I'm going to bottle someone.
And then he bottled someone, and then now this happened.
He's like, I can't wait, man. I can't be...
Let this ban
I can't not have a charge for a decade.
Yeah, too many things. And he gets into a lot of legal trouble. So it kind of like asks the question, like, should an artist's personal behavior affect how we engage with their music? Like, can we separate the art from the artist?
It's hard.
It is hard.
He like, I when I think about Chris Brown, I think about that Rihanna thing.
Yeah.
You can't like forget.
Yeah.
Even though they've forgotten, I've seen them like
both of them
hug each other and kiss each
I'm
other.
not gonna lie, I've a little bit forgotten over here. Right? That's just no. I what's more
for a little while, I stopped listening to him.
Yeah.
And he had good songs.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I just see those meet and greet videos, right? This guy with those pictures. Those are wild, man.
Yeah.
That's all I've been seeing recently of this guy.
And if they're paying,
but yeah, if you're in the UK, man, they lock people up there for a lot of shit.
Just,
maybe that's not the place to
just
bottle
for saying
somebody,
something, right?
right? I mean,
with the him specifically, I feel like I don't search Chris Brown songs. He's just featured on so much stuff.
I think after, like, I think that Rihanna stuff really did hurt his reputation,
100%.
and after that, I don't think people have really.
A lot of people still hold on to it.
Yeah,
But he was like at the top. Though.
Yeah,
Like, he could sing, he rapped, he danced. Like,
yeah,
he's
like, I'm sure he would be bigger if that didn't happen.
Definitely.
But he's still very big.
Yeah.
A lot of people have forgotten that happened.
For sure.
But personally, I don't think that I would be able to do that. Like separate the artist from the art. Like if I don't like the artist and they did something really bad, like how can you forget that?
Well, if you're talking about something like music, right? It's a part of your brand, right? So if it's a part of the brand, your whole image, what you do, how you carry yourself matters, right?
Yeah.
So like if you're like, for example, it's nothing similar to this, but if you're a rapper who claims to be from the hood and you're a thug and you're this and you're that, in reality you're not, right? And a lot of these rappers, sometimes they do these days. But like if you're the only one doing that and everyone else isn't, then you're going to be looked at a certain way, right?
For
like
sure.
the way I think, especially when it comes to being an athlete or being anyone in the public eye, your image matters.
Of course.
Right? Like if certain things happen with football players or basketball players, right? Like people are going to judge you for that, and because of that, they won't be fansy.
I think more so now, right? Because there's cameras everywhere. God knows what they're doing in the 90s.
We're talking about domestic abuse and stuff, right? With Chris Brown, right? But like people get mad these days because somebody says like, I don't like Donald Trump, or I love, and that's it. Like you saw what happened with Saquon, like what, with the White House?
He went, right?
Yeah, he went, and then all this backlash with him. And I think we talked about it, right? Like maybe. I don't know, but like people saying that he shouldn't have gone.
Yeah.
You know, I think
Jalen Hurts didn't go.
Jalen Hurts didn't go. I think DL Hughley was talking about it and all this.
DL's talking about a lot of people these days.
A lot of shit. But what else do we have?
All right. Do you guys remember that fitness influencer with like the mouth tape? And, He does those like ice.
Oh yeah.
His name's Ashton Hall.
Yeah.
So he has his videos, ice baths for his face, banana peels all over his face. Just for reference, I'll show you a video.
Oh yeah, this guy.
So this guy.
6037.
Yeah. All of them. Imagine setting up all this time every minute, and then you do that 3 seconds, then you jump off.
Yeah. So okay, before I continue, this guy puts on a Rolex to go work out.
Yeah.
He wears a Van Cleef bracelet.
I mean, we all do, right?
Chain,
Yeah.
I don't even know what van, whatever you said.
I'm just like, what is that?
$8,000. I'm just gonna put on my Van.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's a thing.
Maybe he has it like that.
But at the end of his video, he'll like try to say something motivational, like appeal to like the normal person, like, you know, don't let anyone get in your way.
Okay.
Bro, all that money's getting in my way. I don't put on my Rolex to go work out. But anyways, so that's not the point of the story. Teaming up with DJ Khaled.
No.
So they're so you know how he's always on like a weight loss journey. Like
he's
for like 2 decades.
So I'll show you a clip of it first.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Yo, this guy knows how to stay relevant. I'll tell you that much, man.
I forgot about him. Now he's back.
For sure. So I've been following DJ Khaled on Snapchat for like years.
Yeah.
Always trying to work out.
He blew up on Snapchat.
Remember when he started that? That was him
he was
getting
always
lost
on
in
an
his
elliptical.
jet
He had
ski.
his chef like cook meals for him.
Like
Like
been that long.
What did he say? God did. What was DRAKE? He just kept.
like keys. Like these are
keys.
Yeah,
The keys.
to like,
Big deal.
right?
Didn't he get lost in Miami on his jet ski?
Yeah, I think so. So basically, the two of them are collaborating on a series of workout videos.
These two. Okay.
And it's also serving like promotion for he has an album coming out.
Nice.
But like real talk, like in a world where like Ozempic is like the solution, I don't know, that's pretty cool what he's doing. Like he's going this route.
Promoting actually
Yeah,
work.
he is like obviously staying relevant and like promoting whatever, but it's nice to see like someone in the public eye go a different route other than like straight to Ozempic, because I mean real talk, Ozempic could probably really help him.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, yeah, we've talked shit about Ozempic, right? And then when somebody's gonna try to do it the natural route, we're still talking shit.
Yeah, no, but I don't think he's running slow. I think he could be me running.
I think he's trying.
That was, I mean, no,
Like the
you're being nice.
influencer is obviously running a lot slower.
Yeah. The video's in slow motion, and
or is it sped up?
Oh, it's sped up.
But yeah, let's move on to
So it's these Labubu dolls.
What the hell
That's
is
what they're called. So
The
there's
what?
this viral, trendy little clips on dolls for your purse or your bag.
Okay.
They're typically sold in blind boxes, meaning you don't know which one you're going to get when you
Those
open
are
the
the best.
package. This is what they look like. So this video.
Okay. These. Okay. Are these like
I know, right?
That's what those Furbies or something too.
Yeah.
Or these are the Boobos. Boo Dolls.
That's not name.
Is this from a TV show?
I have no idea.
No, so they're not from a TV show, but they're like kind of a global sensation right now. Like, people are like collecting them. There's
shit.
limited edition versions of them.
know this.
Celebrity endorsements, even Rihanna's seen wearing them.
Yeah.
You can buy clothes for them. And people are dressing up their Labubus. They're putting them
And, like,
on their
LV?
like really
Dressing the
expensive bags and purses.
This is the definition of rich people.
Like there's lineups for people
Rich
to get
people
them
shit.
because
This
they
is
only sell them
childish.
at Pop Mart, that Chinese store.
Oh.
And
Those things cost a lot, man.
they're
How about
like
those? Yeah.
normally they're only like $20 to $30
that's a lot,
USD, but
indeed,
people
but-
are reselling them for like double, triple
airline
online.
No, I mean like the collectible ones, no? Like I know them.
Yeah,
man.
like
the little
limited
Pikachus and
edition
shit.
ones.
They cost a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah, and they're going pretty viral online. People are going really insane about them. Like adults, like what do you think like makes adults want to get these dolls?
That's the only way I would
Soft
understand
life
it.
culture.
Soft life.
I even heard people are fighting that they stopped selling them in certain places.
Oh yeah,
Or, like getting to
the
physical.
Pop Marts in UK, they temporarily removed them off shelves because of customer altercations.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What to say about this? Like
Things are trendy, isn't it?
yeah,
Seems normal to me.
like remember Pokemon Go?
Pokemon cards when I was young were a big
Yeah,
deal.
they are.
No, they were a big deal, man. I
They're
remember
a big deal now, man.
Yeah.
It's like people trade them right now. Like I get it a
they're
little
worth
bit.
a lot. That's the only
Yeah.
aspect I understand. If there's rare types or something and they're collectible, then I can get behind buying them.
I mean, I hope like there's not any dudes doing this.
I bet you there is.
There probably is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you own any Labubus?
No.
Do you want a Labubu?
No, it's such a funny name too, right?
Kind of sounds like Louboutin. All right, let's move on. So you guys know who Kris Jenner is, right?
Yeah.
Kardashian mama. So
Momager.
So I'll show you a picture of her first.
That's what they call her, man.
But like you're like number one.
So she had some work done. So just want to show you a picture. There's a before and after. So she had like
Oh, you're looking like Kim's sister.
so she had plastic surgery obviously for a more natural looking aesthetic. But she looks so refreshed and rejuvenated. Like I was like very impressed by
That's
that plastic
crazy.
surgery.
Yeah.
Guess how old she is? Do you guys know?
I know.
So she's
I think so.
She's 69.
Yeah.
She's
She's only 70, yeah.
That's more than I thought.
Yeah.
I thought she was
for 69. So just for reference, I'm going to show you a picture of her. So she was recently on
She's
Jeff
70 years old?
Bezos.
This is crazy.
Jeff Bezos' wife just had a bachelorette.
Yeah.
So she was at it. So this is her compared to the rest of them. Jeff Bezos' wife is 14 years younger than her.
Wow.
Katy Perry is 40 years old. So she's 29 years younger than her.
Wow.
But she looks so good.
Yeah. There's no denying that. That's
I
crazy.
mean, if there ever was a commercial for plastic surgery,
I'm not a plastic surgery advocate, but if I was gonna do it, I wouldn't do this
at that age.
I mean, I feel like now it's gonna get
You're
a
not gonna
parent who
afford that
has money and who doesn't have money, right?
You don't have to look old anymore. You just pay for it.
But you also see all the failed attempts.
Oh
at
yeah,
trying to
like
look young.
look at Lauren Sanchez. Look at Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
Why does she look like that? She's so rich.
I don't know.
She
picked the wrong guy.
She picked the wrong doctor.
Apparently, the plastic surgeon that she went to is getting a lot of praise online, but they're saying that surgery that she got is $100,000.
Wow.
Which doesn't seem that steep.
His starting prices are $45,000. So I would assume she did 5 or 6 different things.
Yeah.
But it's a natural aesthetic, which
I think it worked.
I think she looks really good.
She looks for 70. She looks amazing.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I mean, yeah, she looks younger.
The 70-year-olds
Yeah.
I've seen don't look like that.
Yeah.
You see a lot of 70-year-olds?
Look, grandmas.
All right, that's all we have for Off Topic.
All right.
Okay, let's move on to the question segment. So I want to start with this article that I recently saw in the Wall Street Journal about what Gen Z considers quote unquote recession indicators.
Okay.
So they're everyday regular things people do or don't do that essentially predict that a recession is coming. So rather than relying on traditional metrics like GDP or interest rates,
Ones that make sense.
Gen Z will often use personal experiences and cultural cues to judge economic well-being. So for example, the rise in DIY beauty, the popularity of press-on nails or more affordable hairstyles.
First world problem.
Basically, yeah. Keeping your natural hair color.
Yeah.
Another example is according to Gen Z, emptier bars and clubs, less nightlife. There's even music fans that recently coined the term recession pop with the resurgence of artists like Lady Gaga and Kesha that were popular during other recession. So things like that. So basically, I just wanted to ask, what are some recession indicators you guys can think of?
Recession indicators that?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're broke and you don't have any money, what do you start doing?
No vacation.
Yeah, you don't.
Yeah, travel would definitely be one.
I know boxers are one. There's this index. Yeah, there's what she's talking
underwear
about.
index?
Yeah, there's a underwear index. You can Google it.
Yeah.
And people stop buying boxers as often.
Lipstick index?
There's the lipstick one too.
Yeah.
That's another big one.
That was women stop spending money on big ticket items, but
and
they'll
start
still
buying
splurge on
lipstick.
smaller ticket items like lipstick and makeup.
Yeah.
And so if you see an increase in the
and guys, our logic is just well, we can survive with the same boxers for years. Who needs new boxers, right?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
maybe the cost of popcorn?
How much popcorn do you eat, bro? Where he's it's a recession? No, popcorn prices are going up.
We eat a lot of popcorn, man. I like popcorn.
Maybe that's
some other examples were this stripper posted online that the strip club is empty.
Oh, I think that's one of the indicators.
That is one of the indicators.
Yeah, there's been a decline.
You know that, right?
Huh? No,
people
not
talk about
this is it's well known, well documented.
That's what it is, unnecessary frivolous spending, right? Probably.
Yeah, you cut back, right? We were talking about the traveling thing happening.
Yeah.
They keep saying it's boycotting. No, it's because it's broke. Nobody has money. Everybody's broke.
Yeah.
Says globally, everyone's broke.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, you just cut back on things you don't need, right?
Candies.
When you can't afford groceries and they keep going up, right? So you do.
Okay, let's end on a light note. So we'll just do a ranking question. So rank these breakfast foods without knowing what's next.
This is easy.
And there's 5 of them. So the first one is pancakes.
Damn, this is hard.
If waffles are coming, I like waffles.
I like
4.
Yeah.
That's low.
She said that with such confidence.
All right. We'll put it at 4.
Okay, the next one is eggs.
Eggs are staple.
Eggs gotta be 1 or 2, no?
They have to be.
Yeah, 1.
1?
Yeah.
You can't have breakfast without eggs.
Yeah, you can have
pancakes and waffles and stuff. Not every day though.
That's not a whole
sausage.
Yeah. We'll go 1.
That's 2 and 3.
The next one is bacon.
That's 2.
No, bacon's gotta be 3. What is
sausage?
I like sausage more.
Okay, sure.
3.
Okay, so that's 3.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one is waffles. So you have 2 and 5 left.
Oh shit.
See, I like waffles more than pancakes, but sausage is coming next. That has
What if she does now?
Like baked beans?
Or like a bowl of fruit.
I don't mind baked beans.
Bowl of fruit.
I like fruit.
They put blueberries. Like who gets that
For her
shit?
daughter.
So waffles are 5?
I guess we have.
I wish 4 and 5 were switched.
Yeah.
Okay.
Waffles is 5. So the number 2 spot is left.
Is it 2 or 3?
2.
2.
Oh, okay.
For bagels.
Oh.
Wah,
wah, wah.
All right, whatever.
And with that,
Bagels don't need to be.
it's a wrap. We'll catch you guys next week. Remember, we're not experts on any of this stuff, and you guys should always do your own research. Take care.
Take care, everybody.